Hey, welcome everybody. The moment is finally here. My Out of the Park 22 sim is ready to begin. As you probably saw from the thumbnail, as you see from the screen in front of you, I have chosen the Phillies. And it's been about 2 months since I did a live stream with my brother Mike from Fake Sports Dynasties, where I reviewed my teams that I had narrowed my choice down to for my Out of the Park 22 sim. And the Phillies was one of those teams. And not to recap that entire thing, but the long story short is I think the Phillies are in a really interesting spot because they're set up to win now around their core players. Like Harper's 28, Real Muto's 30. But I really don't think they're good enough to win right now. And that's especially true in Out of the Park, even more so than real life MLB. And so I thought it'd be an interesting change of pace from what I did last season, where I was the Orioles and I did a rebuild. And I've played as the Orioles in most Out of the Park games that I've bought before, not most of them not online and not on YouTube, but I've also done expansion teams before. So I've kind of always done the rebuild thing. And I wanted to change it up this year. And I thought that the Phillies would be a really fun team to do that with. As a Baltimore sports fan and also a Washington Capitals fan, a little conflicted about bringing Philadelphia sports fans happiness, but here we are. It's going to happen. I'm going to do my best. So that's why I went with the Phillies. I think it's going to be interesting to do, and I think it's going to be challenging to win while their core players are still, before their core players decline too much. So in today's video, I'm going to review and kind of assess the team and tell you what I'm thinking with each position. I'm gonna go over the rules and the settings for my sim. I know people have been interested in that and how I set up settings when I first start. So I'll show you what I've changed, what I haven't, and then I'm also going to tell you how you can participate in the sim. And to start with that, you see this address right here, the patreon.com/PF Holden, which is also in the description. So there are a bunch of benefits for joining different tiers of the Patreon, but some of them are ways you can participate in the sim, such as voting on rules that I'm going to put in place for myself for the sim. And also you get to name your own prospect, a player in the Phillies system or a player that I draft. You can name them after yourself or, name them after your friend, whatever you want to do. So let's get into the settings here that I changed first. So first thing I did was the trade difficulty. I bumped it up 3 levels above the middle and towards prospects 3 notches as well. And then I changed the ratings weight. This is what I generally play with. It's not scientific. It's just what I found I like. 45, 30, 25. And so it's about 55 stats and 45 ratings with a lot of emphasis on the current year and the previous year stats. And then I also, for those who followed my last sim, know that I dialed down the offense. So I've dialed this down to 2016 run environment. I like that better. You still get a couple guys who hit over 50 home runs and you get a decent amount of strikeouts, but it's not as exaggerated, I guess it is in current MLB, and also then as it kind of continues to progress out of the park to where a lot of guys are just hitting more home runs than I just enjoy 2016 better. I'm not anti current Major League Baseball. I like the home runs a lot. I think strikeouts are fun. I'm not down on Major League Baseball, but I think just dialing it back a little bit makes out of the park more enjoyable for me. And so I'm not going to add the designated hitter for this season, but I am going to add it next season. I prefer, I'm sure a lot of National League fans will not be happy with it, but I prefer baseball with the designated hitter for a variety of reasons, and especially now out of the park, I almost always play with AL teams, so it's going to be different for me. But no DH this year. I am going to enact it next year. And another thing which I actually would like feedback on from you guys, you can leave it in the comments, is what to do about this ballpark. Because if you look at the ballpark factors, home runs overall 1.249. So and you compare this to somewhere, let's compare it to like Colorado, right? 1.249. Colorado's at 1.217. So it's saying that Citizen Bank Park is a more homer friendly environment than Colorado. And certainly in Philly, it's a very hitter friendly park. But then, you look at Baltimore is at 1.195, a very hitter friendly park. Cincinnati is another one, 1.180. The Yankees in right field for lefties is a big homer. That power alley, 1.170. Milwaukee's another one that's a hitter friendly park, 1.077. So while I acknowledge that Citizen Bank Park is generally a top 5 park for homers, this just seems out of whack for me. So I was thinking about adjusting so that you can adjust the home runs for lefties and righties, and then that auto adjusts the overall. And I don't really think it's cheating to adjust it to what is maybe more something a little more realistic. So I was thinking for right-handed batters, looking at Coors Field, because Coors Field is the second most homer friendly in this game to right-handed batters, and that's at 1.210, right? So if I put that at 1.210, it'll still be tied for the most home run friendly park for right-handed batters. So it's not like I'm totally tanking the home runs. And then what I would do is I would drop the left-handed relative to the right-handed. So it would drop, the point oh 0.06. So it would go down to 1.15, which would then give us a home runs overall of right around 1.18. And that's going to be right where Cincinnati is, which I think is like the third most homer friendly park in this game. And that's kind of more in line with how I think Citizen Bank is in real life. If you look at different sites that track park factors or baseball savants, things like that, there's no doubt that Philly is always in the top five, but I've never seen it be that far in first place. I looked back like 5 years and I never saw a year where it was the most homer friendly stadium in the game. So I'm thinking of changing that, dialing it back just to like Coors Field / Cincinnati levels, right? So let me know what you guys think of that. I think I'm going to do it either way, but if everybody's like, no, that's cheating, I'll reconsider. But I really think it's just making it more realistic, and it's home runs are still going to be a major problem in this park for me. So let's talk a little bit about the rules that I'm going to go over, and that'll be some of the transactions. So, like I said, I'm going to have some rules for this first season that I put in place. And then also some rules that the patrons will vote on. And then moving forward after this first season, I'll put more longer term rules in place that the patrons will definitely vote on as well. So, rule one, when it comes to waivers, I'm only going to allow myself to claim players on waivers that are 25 or older. I think sometimes, especially in the off season, you get prospects that are for some reason on the 40 man and then being DFA'd or on waivers. And so to mitigate me accumulating top prospects that way, and the AI doesn't really claim them. So you have to be 25 or older for me to claim you on waivers. Same thing with the Rule 5 draft. One thing that the Rule 5 draft in this game struggles with is when to protect top prospects. You'll get multiple top 100 prospects available in the Rule 5 draft, which just doesn't happen in real life. Once guys are old enough or have enough service time to be eligible in the Rule 5 draft, professional service time, they're on the 40 man or they're not a top 100 prospect anymore. So those will be two rules. And then another thing that I am going to put in place is I will not allow myself to trade Bryce Harper. I am committed to his contract, all 97 years of it. And so we've got 11 years left here. So I'm not going to unload it and retain salary to get it off the books. If I want to get rid of Harper at any point in the sim, if I play it out all the way to the end of his deal, I'm going to have to DFA him. And if somebody claims him, cool, but he'll be so bad if I'm DFAing him that nobody's going to claim him at his salary. So I cannot unload his contract. I have to keep him on the team or I have to DFA him and eat the whole contract. So trades are one area where I definitely want feedback from that the patrons are definitely going to vote on, and I'm going to post there with some options for this season, but definitely for the following seasons. And so I'm kind of going back and forth. One thing is I'm not going to make any trades before May 1st. I'm going to come in and take over and just let this play out, right? And so the next thing that after that, I think I'm going to allow myself to trade for players on the trade block, which I did in some of my trade deadline takeovers. I think that's more realistic and more fair, but I don't want to limit myself to that for the whole sim. But I think for this season, I may just limit myself to trading for players on the trade block. Because if you think about it, if a new general manager came in and took over the Phillies, in March, right before opening day, they're not going to be making like a ton of moves right then. It's just not realistic. Now, the following offseason, certainly, I think that guy would look to make his mark on the club. So I don't want to go out and address the six glaring weaknesses and just turn this team, which has a big budget, into a powerhouse overnight. That's not as fun for me. I like the team building. I like to be consistent with the players that I have, with some amount of realism of trading. So I'm thinking maybe I'll allow myself this season one non-trade block trade, as well as many trades for guys on the trade block as I want. So, but that's something I'm going to ask the patrons about and allow them to vote on, and certainly vote on after this season for my rules moving forward in the sim. But that's I'm just kind of brainstorming at this point. But no trades before May 1st is what I've settled on so far. So let me just make sure. I think that is yeah. So and yeah, I can yeah, let's do it this way. I'm going to go into the team, and I'm just going to kind of run down the team. I want to make sure I covered all my settings, and I think I did. I think I covered all the stuff I wanted to there. Um, all right, so let's go down this team. So JT Realmuto, he is 30. His contract is 5 years long. Two concerning things, but the bottom line is that he's an elite defensive catcher, and his bat for a catcher is great. We are set at catcher for now. It might get a little ugly in a couple of years, but man, this 70 catcher ability, 75 arm, and a good bat. Very happy with Real Muto at catcher. Reese Hoskins, first base. The dude can hit. We're happy with him at first base for this year. He's 48. He's in 48. He's 28, earning 4.8 million in arbitration. And we'll see how big of a piece he is moving forward. Gene Segura, second baseman, doesn't really have the range that I like for second base, and he's signed for 2 more years, including this season, and then an option year. He's one of those guys that if I was coming in and going to be aggressively trading and just remaking the Phillies overnight, I would look to upgrade defensively at second base, get this older player off my roster. But we'll see. He's the second baseman for now. And then let's see. Alec Boehm is really not an adequate third baseman, and I think next season you'll see probably Boehm at DH or Hoskins at DH and the other one at first. But for this year, right now, he's an inadequate third baseman according out of the park, but he's going to hit like crazy. I think he's going to be a really important player for this sim, but his defense concerns me. Defense concerning me is a theme with this team. Didi is another one. Didi would be a great third baseman with this arm. This range and his age, I'm not in love with him as my shortstop. Contract-wise, he's got 2 more years, but we're going to need to upgrade at shortstop defensively at some point. And then left field, McCutcheon, same thing. He's okay defensively. It's not the end of the world of a bad defensive left fielder. But again, he's older. He's 34. He's got a team option with a buyout next year. I think this will probably be his only year on the team. Again, another guy I'd be looking to move out right now if I was allowing myself to do that. Center field is a huge concern on this squad. Roman Quinn is just not adequate defensively. He's not a good hitter. I mean, if he had a bit better range, maybe like 75 range, and I would bump his center field position rating up, I could see plugging him in there and having really good value as a defensive player, but he's just not good enough. Harper is Harper. He's going to be there. Hopefully he's going to win a couple MVPs for us. And the rest of the roster, so Knapp is a fine backup. He's pretty good with the bat for a catcher, not as good defensively. We'll probably look to move on from him at some point. And then Ronald is at Torres. You Phillies fan can let me know if I'm mispronouncing any names. So decent utility guy. He's fine. He'll be around for this season probably. We've also got Brad Miller here, another utility guy who can play some infield and outfield, and a fine guy to come off the bench. He's a leader. So happy with Miller. Matt Joyce, honestly, really good left-handed bat to have off the bench in the NL. But given the makeup of our outfield, I don't know that he's going to make it to opening day. I might DFA him. Not really sure. I think really what I need to do is bring up Jankowski, just like the Phillies did in real life a few days ago, because this range is awesome. I honestly think even with this completely inadequate bat, right now he's my best option for center field, and I think he's probably going to be my opening day center fielder. Which, man, that's dark. That's dark times. So that's the offense. Again, older players, not great defensively, bad defensively in some areas. You got Real Muto and Harper who are awesome. I think guys like Boehm and Hoskins have really good bats. But, the middle of the diamond, kind of Segura, Didi Gregorius, and Roman Quinn, just inadequate defensively, and that's gonna hurt us. That is gonna hurt us. So pitching wise, I have a lot of concerns as well. So it's a very homer-friendly park, as we covered. And out of the park, the way you suppress home runs is one, have a catcher with good catcher ability, and two, have pitchers with good movement. And as you can see, we've got Alvarado here, who came over from Tampa. He's had some decent success in the majors, but the 30 control, he's my best movement pitcher, but he's got 30 control. Same thing with Coonrod here, 65 movement, but a 40 control, which is adequate. But I don't have any movement studs here. I have guys who have really good movement, but they have other areas of weaknesses. Like Aaron Nola, really good pitcher. He's probably going to be awesome for me. But I do have concerns about how his home runs are going to play out and out of the park with just a 55 movement, which, as my ace and one of the better pitchers in baseball, hopefully he can overcome that. But I'm concerned. Same thing with Zach Wheeler, a control pitcher according to out of the park, average movement. Eflin, everybody else in the rotation, below average movement. That is going to be a major issue. Same thing in the bullpen. It's going to be a major issue because this staff is not built around movement, and I need to build a staff around movement. And again, because I'm limiting myself in what I can do, uh, I think this year's going to maybe not go great for me. So uh, we'll see what happens. I'm going to be able to make tweaks. I'm going to try to bring in a couple guys as free agents. There aren't a ton of options out there, but I'm going to try to upgrade around the fringes and see what I can do. And also, we'll see what rules I decide on with trades. But certainly, I think it could start poorly. So let's look just at AAA in terms of what kind of help is on the way. And, Jankowski, I said, will probably be up. Mickey Moniak, former first overall pick, looking like he could be a decent player. I would like him to probably be in the minors this entire year and get better in the outfield, but probably a player moving forward for us. Adam Hazley is same thing with Moniak. He is a guy who I think his bat can play for us. I wish one of them was a clear center fielder, but they're not. They're corner outfielders, which limits their value some because corner outfielders are easier to acquire. But again, a useful piece, I think, moving forward for us. Kingery, man, I don't know, man. This contract's not great. At best, I think he's, if he blossoms, I think he's maybe a utility player. So not great there. And we've got Baltimore, fake Orioles legend, Nick Maton. For anybody who watched my O's sim, this guy won Rookie of the Year for me and put up like almost 7 WAR in his rookie season for me with the O's. And I think he can be a utility guy, maybe. He's 24. Don't know if his bat's going to play, but hopefully he'll stick around. It'd be fun to have him on my team and be successful again. Pitching side of things, I've got a bunch of guys who were on my Orioles as well. Sanchez, Eastman, Falter, Parkinson, De Los Santos. I made a couple trades with the Phillies. So Spencer Howard might be a trade chip for me eventually. Sorry, Phillies fans. But this movement, I don't think is going to play. I don't think that's going to play in Citizen Bank Park, and he's probably going to be very highly valued by other clubs. Christopher Sanchez is my movement stud. He was a good piece for me in my fake Orioles sim once he got into his late 20s, early 30s, who was really successful. I'm hoping that he develops because this movement puts him on my radar, and I'm hoping that he develops well and can come up and suppress home runs. Beyond that, there's, Eastman, 40 movement. I don't know if that's going to play. Falter, a 35 movement. I think these are guys I'll probably move out for players who are more suited to my style. Good defensive players in the middle of the diamond or pitchers with high movement or good movement. So that's that. Let's look at the coaching staff real quick. So the staff is not great. I've got to replace this scout. I don't like Highly Favors ability. I like Highly Favors tools. He's bad at, he's not great at scouting amateurs. I'm going to replace him immediately. And I think I might do the same with a couple other guys. The pitching coach is unproven, but he also doesn't get along with some guys on my staff. He's excellent at handling development and mechanics, which is great, but only decent at teaching pitching. So I might replace him as well. Not sure what minor leagues, I've got some time because the season doesn't start until May, but I think I am definitely going to replace the scout. I might replace the trainer. I might replace my pitching coach. Not sure beyond that. I'll see what else is out there, but that is on my radar. And just in terms of free agents, Phillies fans are going to love this. So if we look at the pitchers to bring in, you got a bunch of guys who just aren't good enough for the major leagues. Then you got David Robertson. So we're probably going to bring him back to Philly. I think he's going to be in my bullpen to start the season. I'm also going to try to identify a few other guys who I can sign and bring in maybe, to pitch in AAA and be depth, because I think there's a lot of work to be done around the fringe of this roster. Like Chase Anderson, not going to cut it for me. Matt Moore, he's going to be in rotation to start, but I think I've got to upgrade around the fringes and have more options in AAA to bring up. So, it's March 18th, so I think I will update next at opening day and let you guys know the changes that I made, let you guys know what rules I've finalized between me and my patrons, and what the plan is for here. But there won't be any trades before May 1st is what I've decided. So no trades, bringing guys in before then. If I change that, I'll let you know. But that is the end of this one. So be sure to, again, let me know what you think of that thing with the ballpark factors. I think I just got to do it to make this workable, to make it a little more realistic. But thanks for watching. I'm glad I'm finally, up and running with this, and I hope to have an update for you guys shortly on how the 2021 Phillies are approaching opening day. Talk to you next time.